On a beautiful morning in Chicago, Emily tells her boss, Madeline Wheeler, that she is featured in Ad Week. Emily's company, the Gilbert Group, has just bought a small marketing firm called Savoir in France. Madeline is excited about the chance to move to Paris and asks Emily to pitch her idea about meditation and medication. While trying out a new perfume, Madeline feels sick from the strange scent, but Emily only notices floral notes. We find out Madeline is pregnant. Later, Emily meets her boyfriend, Doug, at a bar. She tells him that Madeline is pregnant and has decided not to go to Paris. Doug thinks this means Emily won't get a promotion, but Emily surprises him with good news. She's been offered the job in Paris for a year and will return as a senior brand manager. Doug is stunned that Emily is serious about leaving, especially since she doesn't speak French, but he supports her. When Emily arrives in Paris, she is greeted by the handsome Gilles Duffer. He gives her the keys to her apartment and helps her carry her bags up several flights of stairs. Gilles gives her a quick French lesson and asks her out on a date. Emily, however, declines because she has a boyfriend. After somewhat settling in, Emily heads to the office. She is immediately met with disapproving looks from the staff and her new boss, Sylvie. Emily doesn't speak any French, and they aren't happy about it. She is introduced to Paul Brassard, the founder of Savoir, who openly shares how much he disliked his time in America and believes Emily, along with other Americans, could learn from the French. Emily doesn't let this bother her and asks to share her ideas on social media strategies for the company. She starts off assertively but then explains that she will provide an American perspective to Savoir's French market. No one is excited about this. Sylvie tells Paul that she doubts Emily will last a year under her. A quick phone call with Doug gives Emily some encouragement but leaves her feeling lonely. Emily accidentally uses her key on the wrong apartment door and meets her handsome neighbor, Gabriel. Her American references seem a bit out of place. The next day, Emily buys a pastry with chocolate inside and arrives at the office 2 hours early. Her boss, Sylvie, arrives 45 minutes later. Emily tries to get Patricia, the social media expert, to discuss strategies, but Patricia avoids her, and everyone else declines Emily's invitation to lunch. While out for lunch, Emily meets Mindy, a nanny who quickly befriends her and explains more about French culture. On her way back to the office, Emily sees the marketing team returning from lunch without her. They greet her with a new nickname, Le Plouc, which means, the hick. Luc from the marketing team bumps into Emily while out and tells her he didn't agree with the nickname, Le Plouc, which is why he struggled to say it. He explains that the team is afraid of her because she brings new ideas that push them out of their comfort zone. According to Luc, the French work to live, unlike Americans who live to work. He is surprised to hear that Emily enjoys working and suggests she might not know true happiness. Emily pushes back, saying it's arrogant to assume that, but Luc points out it was also arrogant and ignorant for her to come to Paris without speaking French. True, Luc advises her not to come to work early. Emily takes his advice to heart and adjusts her latest social media post. With each photo she takes, she gains more followers. Doug finally calls Emily at 3 in the morning. He suggests a little video phone sex, and Emily goes along with it, but she's not as into it as Doug is, and the phone freezes. Emily then tries to use her vibrator, but it blows out the electricity in the neighborhood. Emily goes for a run, listening to French lessons as she jogs. After jogs she took some pictures and posted on internet after that. Once again, she mistakenly tries to open the wrong apartment door. Gabriel, her neighbor, is sweet and charming. Just as she's about to leave, Emily steps in dog poop, which leads her to post another picture. Emily notices that her social media is blowing up. At work, when she is called Le Plouc again, she uses her phone translator to tell off Julien. Emily speaks to Sylvie about how the office feels about her presence. Emily expresses her desire to be part of the marketing campaign for Delure and realizes that Sylvie isn't keeping her in the loop. Sylvie doesn't like Emily's approach of making their brand accessible to everyone, as it conflicts with their sexy, mysterious image. Emily points out that she understands what it's like to be on the outside looking in, making her the voice for the customers they want to attract. Impressed, Sylvie invites her to the launch party that night. Sylvie and Paul introduce Emily to Antoine Lambert, the owner of Maison Laveau, a prestigious perfumery in Paris, along with his wife, Catherine. Emily impresses Antoine with her enthusiasm, but others at the party are less impressed with her focus on work. It's a different lifestyle, after all. Later, Antoine approaches Emily as she enjoys the view of the Eiffel Tower and tries to flirt with her. He points out that she's not wearing perfume and suggests that all perfumes invoke a certain sexiness. Emily attempts to steer the conversation back to work, but she ends up with Antoine's business card. Sylvie happens to witness the exchange, and she's not pleased. The day after, Julien starts calling Emily by her name, and Paul informs her that Antoine wants her to handle his account. Sylvie arrives just in time to reveal that they were going to assign Emily to work on Vega Jeune, a product that is a vaginal suppository for older women, given Emily's pharmaceutical background. Sylvie implies that Emily was too friendly with Antoine, and she's acting too innocent for the situation. She suggests that Emily had a part in the flirting. Regardless, Sylvie knows that Emily is attracted to Antoine, and she is good friends with his wife. Julien, who overhears the conversation, warns Emily that Sylvie is Antoine's mistress. However, Emily doesn't like the gossip and decides to reach out to Mindy for dinner instead. Mindy gives Emily a lesson on French marriage and affairs, but it's all too messy for Emily to handle. Mindy happens to be an heir to the Chinese zipper kingdom that was cut off, hence why she works as a nanny. Emily's American habits clash with the French culture when she argues with the chef about the rareness of her steak. And to make things more complicated, the chef happens to be her hot neighbor, Gabriel. He doesn't mess around when it comes to cooking meat. Emily gets ready for Doug's arrival by food shopping and posting pictures and videos, only to be disappointed when Doug tells her he's not coming. He admits he doesn't know how to do long distance, and he wants her to come home. Emily refuses to budge and ends the relationship. After a night of tears, Emily wakes up to a rainy day. She heads straight to work on the Vega Jeune product, only to discover that the French verb associated with it is masculine. Emily posts a picture of the product on her growing social media with the caption, "The vagina is not male." It's not the best move for the company, and Emily should have known better. Mindy encourages Emily not to worry about staying in the city and reminds her that she isn't alone. It's just the breakup blues that Emily is going through. In a lavish home somewhere, Madame Brigitte Macron receives Emily's Instagram post and decides to tweet it. Paul informs the team that he's leaving when he receives a text from the CEO of Vega Jeune about Brigitte's tweet. Surprisingly, the CEO is pleased with it, which puts Sylvie in an awkward position, as she was just criticizing Emily moments before. Emily happens to pass by as Paul invites her to join the celebration. The sarcastic cheers of calling her the American Vega Jeune aren't lost on Emily or me. Vega Jeune translates to young vagina, adding insult to injury. Emily gets a phone call from Madeline, who is giving off wonderful mentor vibes. However, Emily isn't honest about how she's not well received in the office but does inform Madeline about her newly single status. New corporate commandments are on the way, and Emily will need to relay them to the Paris office. And to add to the awkwardness, Emily happens to be standing by a urinal during the entire conversation. On her way back to the apartment, Emily takes a picture of French women outside a gym smoking. While Emily is showering, the water suddenly turns off. The landlady or manager isn't pleased to see Emily in a robe and not speaking French. Luckily, Gabriel steps in to translate for her in a kind manner. Emily is also taking French classes, which is great progress. Sylvie isn't happy to see Emily happy. There's no passive aggressiveness here, just straight dislike. Luke and the rest of the office aren't impressed with the new corporate commandments. It probably wasn't the best way to inform them, either. At the shoot for Delure, Emily mistakenly uses the wrong verb to express excitement and ends up telling Antoine she is really horny. Thankfully, Julien is there to assist and correct the error. The shoot features a model walking naked down the street, wearing the perfume, and becoming the desire of every man. Emily points out that the concept perpetuates sexism through the male gaze. Antoine pauses the shoot to discuss what's wrong with it, but Emily disagrees. Sylvie, however, points out that she is not a feminist and that the Me Too movement isn't her thing. Back at the apartment, the shower can't be fixed, and only Gabriel can translate, which he does over coffee and croissants. According to the plumber, the necessary part isn't available and could take some time to arrive. Gabriel offers his shower instead. Work is challenging, especially since Sylvie sees Emily as a nuisance, and someone drew a penis on the corporate commandment document left on Emily's desk. This understandably upsets Emily, who then goes to lunch with Mindy. Mindy points out how commandments don't go over well in French culture. Emily isn't used to not being liked, but Mindy comes through with an idea: host a dinner party at her employer's apartment and invite Sylvie. The commercial doesn't make sense, but Emily comes up with an idea to put it on Twitter with a poll asking, sexy or sexist? Antoine likes the idea. Following Mindy's suggestion, Emily invites Sylvie for dinner, but that plan falls through. Sylvie doesn't want to get to know Emily, and when Emily asks why, Sylvie points out the reasons why they won't be friends. Despite this, Emily still invites her to the party. What was supposed to be a small gathering turns into a packed apartment where no one shows interest in Emily. While out on a balcony, Emily strikes up a conversation and a bit of flirting with the charming Fabien. They take a walk and exchange language lessons, which goes smoothly until Fabien crosses a line by making inappropriate comments about Emily's body. It's a major turn-off, and Emily decides to go home alone. However, she stops at Gabriel's restaurant for some wine and vents about not being liked. To her surprise, Gabriel assures her that he likes her. Meanwhile, back in the States, Madeline informs Emily that the poll is going well, but unfortunately, the market doesn't respond positively to the commercial. Madeline wants Emily to be well-liked and increase brand awareness. Emily decides to lighten the mood by dropping a penis-shaped cake on Luke's desk, which is well received. However, she finds a gift from Antoine on her desk: lace lingerie. It's undeniably sexy but from the wrong guy. While out shopping for roses, Emily meets Camille, who happens to speak French and is very helpful and kind. Camille invites Emily to an art gallery event where she is working. As they depart, they accidentally kiss. Emily struggles with her packages from the States, but Gabriel is there to help bring them all up. He happens to notice the lingerie gift. Gabriel then makes an omelette for Emily, and he asks about her work and the lingerie, prompting her to explain the whole situation to him. At work, tensions rise as Sylvie shouts at Antoine, and Julien is all too eager to translate while trying to keep Emily out of the conversation. However, Antoine threatens to leave the marketing firm. Thinking on her feet, Emily pitches an idea, attributing it to Sylvie, about marketing Antoine's fragrance to a hotel group owned by Randy Zimmer, who happens to be attending the art gallery event that Camille invited her to. Emily quickly leaves after giving Sylvie the roses she bought. Antoine is pleased to hear Emily's idea and praises her for the quick thinking. However, Sylvie is visibly displeased by Emily's rescue and the idea itself. She confronts Emily about the lingerie and demands to know who it's from. Luke and Julien insist on taking Emily to lunch immediately. During lunch, they confront Emily about the gift, knowing it's from Antoine, and they urge her to reconsider being involved with him. Luke explains the history of Antoine's relationship with Sylvie, and both men caution Emily to think carefully about her situation with Antoine. At the gallery opening, Mindy plays devil's advocate, encouraging Emily to have an affair with Antoine or at least to hand him over to her. Camille introduces Emily to Randy Zimmer, who seems uninterested at first until Emily delivers a pitch that engages all of his senses. Impressed, Randy agrees to meet the whole team the next day, including Antoine, who has various scents to share with him. During the presentation, Antoine and Sylvie bicker, but Emily manages to create another distraction by suggesting a dinner. Sylvie wants Emily to choose the location. After the meeting, Antoine speaks to Emily about her pitch and the lingerie gift. He continues to flirt and push her boundaries. Sylvie catches them again and suggests that Emily make a reservation at a place called Grand Vefour. Julien points out that it's impossible to get a reservation last minute. While they wait for a reservation, Antoine and Sylvie continue to disagree in front of Randy. Emily tries to make a reservation online, but the confirmation doesn't come through for the desired date. She calls Gabriel for assistance and spins the bad news by stating they will be having dinner at the 5th. Dinner at the Le Grand Vefour will be in November, in time for the hotel opening. Antoine continues to pitch his fragrances using analogies like hotels and perfumes being the perfect affair. While he tries to flirt with Sylvie, it seems that Sylvie has her eyes on Randy. Randy expresses interest in moving forward with the affair, which means Antoine will be staying with Savoir. Gabriel makes an appearance and is almost poached to work at Randy's hotel. Sylvie sticks around to compliment him on the food and lingerie, then applauds Emily for her good work. Emily gives Gabriel a kiss before leaving, only to find Antoine and Sylvie entangled together as she turns around. Just then, Camille arrives, and it turns out she is Gabriel's girlfriend. Gabriel is shocked to find out they know each other. It's clear that things are complicated. Emily chooses not to inform Camille that moments before, she was lip-locked with Gabriel. Emily wastes no time in confiding in Mindy about her latest drama. Mindy's advice is to act normal around Gabriel and stay friends with Camille, so she can get a better view of Gabriel. Emily messes up her French order and gets a lesson from Mindy. By the way, faux amis means fake friends, which seems to reflect Emily's relationship with Camille, who unexpectedly shows up at their breakfast table. Camille is picking up breakfast for her man. Mindy playfully takes a picture of the two for Emily's Instagram, which Camille follows. Duret Cosmetics has invited Emily to their influencer lunch on the same day as another important event. Julien informs Emily that Duret used to be a client of theirs, but they don't discuss what happened. Emily tries to pry information out of Sylvie, but she redirects Emily's focus to the upcoming meeting with Hassan's Luxury Beds, who are sending a representative to hear campaign ideas. Emily tries to put the Duret issue aside, focusing on the task at hand. However, Luc's suggestion for a slogan for Hassan's is quite forward in its sexual undertones. Emily, being unfamiliar with the Eiffel Tower position, appears innocent and unaware. While Luc and Julien demonstrate the position, Emily seems to miss the innuendo entirely. Unfortunate, but also quite amusing. Emily attends the influencer lunch, where she finds the stereotypes about influencers to be quite real. She goes straight to business but struggles to get the attention of Olivia Thompson, the CMO of Duret. While everyone else is busy posting about the products, Emily takes a different approach and manages to catch Olivia's attention. Olivia agrees to set up a lunch with Emily to discuss her ideas on marketing beyond influencers. Upon returning home, Emily unexpectedly runs into Camille and Gabriel on their way out. Camille insists that Emily tag along with them. They enjoy a mesmerizing projection of Starry Night on the walls. When Emily finally has a moment alone with Gabriel, they discuss the kiss and agree to act as if it never happened. The Hassan's representative, Clara, isn't impressed with Sylvie's initial pitch, and Luc is quickly silenced. Emily steps in with her idea, having people try out the beds in the most Instagrammable spots in the city and post photos of their experiences. It's a hit. During lunch with Olivia, things get a bit tricky. Olivia wants to keep the marketing in-house and have Emily as their brand ambassador. It becomes clear that Olivia isn't fond of Sylvie, which isn't surprising given Sylvie's behavior. Sylvie discovers Emily's lunch with Duret through social media and expresses disdain, suggesting that Emily knows nothing about luxury if she's working for free. She even demands that Emily delete her account. Mindy is there to hear Emily's predicament and offers to assist with one last photoshoot in the city. It's a fun outing for the ladies, with late nights out in the city with your best friend. Later, drunken Emily hears from sober Gabriel that he also felt the attraction. It's a surprising revelation, considering they agreed not to talk about it. Emily's last photo on her Instagram, taken in place Delita, catches Clara's interest in staging their bed there and having Emily post about it first. Clara also agrees that Emily can keep her account. Emily invites Camille to check out the installation because she inspired it. The two take a picture in the bed with the clever hashtag, "Get into a bed with us." Gabriel sees it and appears to like it a bit too much. Thank you so much for watching this video. Season 1 Part 2 link will be available in comments section. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Emily goes with Sylvie to meet Pierre Cadeau, a famous and highly respected fashion designer. He's so influential that even Sylvie, usually confident, becomes nervous around him. Emily, who doesn't quite fit into the world of luxury fashion, doesn't expect to impress him. Sure enough, when Pierre sees Emily's Eiffel Tower charm, he sneers and calls her ringard, which is like calling someone basic in English. Sylvie and Julien are horrified by the insult. Feeling embarrassed, Emily heads to a nearby cafe to relax with a glass of wine. There, She meets Thomas, a good-looking professor who specializes in semiotics. He tends to explain things in a way that feels a bit patronizing, but Emily is intrigued when he points out the irony. Calling someone basic is, itself, pretty basic. Later that night, Emily invites Thomas back to her apartment. Their connection turns physical, and he impresses her in more ways than just talking. The passion between them is so intense that Gabriel, who lives downstairs, can hear everything. Camille arranges a double date with Emily, Gabriel, and Thomas, but things quickly become uncomfortable when Thomas, who's quite snobbish, insults Gabriel's hometown of Normandy. Despite this, Emily still wants Thomas to go with her to the ballet, where she hopes to confront Pierre. However, Thomas dismisses Swan Lake as something only tourists enjoy and calls Emily simple-minded but beautiful. That's the end of that. At the ballet, surrounded by tourists, Emily decides she has nothing to lose. She boldly enters Pierre's private box and gives an impassioned speech. She admits to being basic, and explains that she bought her charm because she aspired to be as stylish as Serena van der Woodsen but couldn't afford to be. Then, Emily flatters Pierre by saying that girls like her admire designers like him and help keep his brand relevant. Although her speech was impressive, she won Pierre over the moment she mentioned Gossip Girl. "I can't believe it was Dan," he exclaims. The next day, Sylvie gets a call from Pierre's office to schedule a meeting, and surprisingly, they ask for the presence of Gossip Girl, referring to Emily. Meanwhile, things are looking up for Mindy as well. She had left her home country after a failed attempt on Chinese pop star and hadn't sung since then. But after some encouragement from Emily, Mindy sings again, and it's clear she hasn't lost her talent. Now, both Emily and Mindy are feeling like they're living life, with things starting to fall into place for them. Antoine is taking Sylvie on a getaway to St. Bart's, and she's in such a good mood that she gives Emily an important task: managing an A-list celebrity at a party for a luxury watch brand. Of course, Emily is thrilled to get this opportunity. The celebrity in question is Brooklyn Clark, known as America's sweetheart, but she turns out to be quite difficult to handle. Despite the challenges, Emily convinces Brooklyn to wear both a Fortier watch and a Pierre Cadeau dress, landing 2 sponsorships in one go. She also strikes a deal with Matthew, Pierre's attractive nephew and business manager, to launch a social media campaign for the watch brand. Emily brings Gabriel as her date to the Fortier party. Gabriel has been having issues with Camille because his boss is ready to sell him the restaurant, but Gabriel doesn't have the money to buy it and refuses to accept help from Camille's family. Mindy wisely points out that mixing family and business is never a good idea. At the party, the paparazzi are everywhere, and Sylvie is intrigued that Emily managed to get Brooklyn to wear a Pierre Cadeau dress, though she still isn't entirely impressed. Sylvie is also distracted when Antoine arrives with his wife, Catherine, who believes the St. Bart's trip was meant for her. Sylvie tries to act calm, but it's clear she's heartbroken by the situation. Even though Emily can't read French, she signs the insurance waiver for the $2 million Fortier watch. In a club, Brooklyn drives off drunk, still wearing the watch. Emily and Gabriel try to get into Brooklyn's hotel room to retrieve it, but they have no luck. That's when Sylvie arrives, furious, and forces the concierge to let them in. Not only does Emily manage to get the watch back, but she also snaps a photo of the Pierre Cadeau dress lying on the floor, which ends up going viral. After seeing the drama between Antoine and Sylvie, Emily realizes she can't continue her complicated situation with Gabriel. She tells him that she's not interested in just sharing a crepe. She wants the whole thing. Using the food metaphor, she manages to soften the blow as she breaks things off with him. Camille asks to meet with Emily to discuss something important. Emily worries that Camille has found out about her and Gabriel, but it turns out Camille just wants to know if Savoir would represent her family's champagne brand. Emily is so relieved it's not about Gabriel that she quickly agrees to the campaign and a visit to Camille's family vineyard. Gabriel will join the trip, and they'll all be crammed into a tiny convertible together. Mindy can't come on the trip because she's busy hosting her friend's bachelorette party in Shanghai. Emily joins the party via FaceTime, where she sees the lively and wealthy bridesmaids spraying expensive champagne everywhere. This sparks a brilliant marketing idea for Emily. Emily's visit to the Champagne Chateau was filled with tension, particularly surrounding Gabriel's pride and refusal to accept assistance from Camille's affluent family. However, things took a turn when Camille's charming brother, Timothée, caught Emily's eye. During dinner, Timothée playfully flirted with Emily under the table, and later, over champagne, he wooed her with a charming line about Marie Antoinette's breasts. The night ended with Emily waking up to a painful hangover and an embarrassing hickey, only to discover that Timothée was just 17 years old. Mortified, Emily tried to process the situation. But the awkwardness didn't end there. Camille's intimidating mother, Louise, requested a private meeting with Emily. Surprisingly, Louise wasn't concerned about Timothée's antics. Instead, she curiously asked if her son was skilled in the romance department. Seizing the opportunity, Emily pitched Louise on a marketing idea for the family's new, affordable champagne line, positioning it as the perfect champagne for celebratory spraying. Although Louise was initially appalled, she acknowledged the idea's potential. Emily, a driven overachiever, was determined to create strategic partnerships between her clients. She successfully convinced renowned designer Pierre Cadault to donate a dress to an auction benefiting the American Friends of the Louvre, a new account. This unlikely collaboration was partly facilitated by Mathieu's growing interest in Emily. The two finally went on a romantic date, enjoying crepes together. However, their budding relationship raised eyebrows at the office. Sylvie confronted Emily, citing the company's policy against mixing business and personal relationships. But before Sylvie could press the issue, Antoine intervened, sending Emily an unexpected package, a pair of nipple clamps. The awkward moment left Sylvie speechless, highlighting the hypocrisy. At the American Friends of the Louvre Gala, Emily encountered the unconventional designers from Grey Space, who made a bold statement with their Ghostbuster-inspired outfits. Despite their initial rejection of savoir, Emily's determination didn't waver. When the socialite modeling the Pierre Cadault dress cancelled, Emily filled in, dazzling the crowd and sparking a fierce bidding war. Grey Space won the dress for €38,000 but, instead of claiming it, they vandalized it with grey paint. The provocative stunt made headlines, leaving Pierre devastated. Emily confronted the Grey Space designers, who claimed it was an homage. She challenged them to prove it by collaborating on a project. Emily presented a Grey Space Pierre Cadault prototype to Pierre, who was struggling to cope with the controversy. Despite her efforts to convince him that the attention was positive, Pierre remained unconvinced. As Emily left, she met Mathieu in the hallway. Rather than offering a solution to his uncle's crisis, Mathieu suggested a quintessentially French coping mechanism: making love. The moment ignored the company's policy against mixing business and pleasure. Paris Fashion Week was in full swing, but Pierre was reeling from the Grey Space debacle. Meanwhile, Mindy lost her nannying job due to her new drag bar gig. Amidst the chaos, Emily's romantic escapade with Mathieu provided a welcome distraction. Their dreamy date included a private Seine River cruise, culminating on his balcony with a breathtaking city view. However, the magic was short-lived, as news of Pierre's decision to cancel his Fashion Week show disrupted the evening. Mathieu was tasked with changing Pierre's mind. The next morning, Sylvie, oblivious to Pierre's plans, eagerly anticipated meeting Emily for the first time. But upon learning the truth, Sylvie's mood darkened, and she blamed Emily for undermining Pierre's confidence. In a shocking move, Sylvie fired Emily on the spot. Emily's dismal day took an unexpected turn when Luc and Julien revealed that getting fired in France wasn't a big deal. Due to lengthy paperwork, Emily could continue showing up to the office, dignity notwithstanding. Returning home, Emily found Gabriel and Camille in the midst of a heated argument. Gabriel had discovered an affordable restaurant in Normandy and planned to leave in a week, effectively ending his relationships with Camille and Emily. As a poignant parting gift, Gabriel handed Emily his cherished, never-washed omelette pan. This symbol of their bond marked the end of an era. Despite her career and social life imploding, Emily reported to work, where she found Pierre revitalized by his anger towards Grey Space. He tasked her with securing a last-minute venue for his new collection. Emily proposed an audacious plan: Pierre would crash Grey Space's event. With models wearing self-referential dresses emblazoned with words like tacky and ringard, Pierre made a bold statement, arriving in a trash truck. The crowd loved it. Sylvie, impressed by Emily's ingenuity, was forced to rehire her. The evening unfolded at Gabriel's restaurant, where friends gathered to bid farewell to his Parisian culinary venture and his relationship with Camille. Matthew extended an invitation to Emily for a Saint-Tropez getaway, which she accepted, considering Gabriel's departure. However, later that night, Emily rushed back to the restaurant and shared a passionate kiss with Gabriel. The tension finally resolved, they surrendered to their desires. The next morning, Emily reflected, "We never had a chance, but at least now we have this one perfect thing." Little did they know, fate had other plans. Antoine surprisingly backed Gabriel's restaurant takeover, ensuring Gabriel's stay in Paris. This unexpected twist left Emily and Gabriel's future uncertain, their brief encounter potentially blossoming into something more. Emily isn't sure if she'd change what happened, but she definitely feels some regret when Camille texts her saying they need to talk. Meanwhile, at Savoir, Luc is handling the account for Champer, Camille's family's champagne brand. This is probably for the best, considering his pitch, which features people being sprayed with cheap champagne, makes Emily drift off into daydreams about Gabriel. After this interesting client meeting, Camille isn't exactly happy that Gabriel has decided to stay in Paris and open his new restaurant, Chez Lavo, with Antoine's help. Camille feels that Gabriel isn't planning to work things out with her. When Camille leaves the table to visit the restroom, Sylvie wastes no time confronting Emily. "You're having an affair with the chef, aren't you?" she asks. Before Emily can deny it, Sylvie presses further, accusing her of sleeping with their client, Mathieu Cadeau, just to get over her friend's boyfriend. Sylvie is clearly enjoying the drama in Emily's life. With all the bold stunts Savoir has pulled for Pierre Cadeau, other clients are now asking for more attention-grabbing ideas. For the luggage brand Rimowa, Emily proposes a quirky, tacky collaboration with Pierre. Julien isn't too happy about Emily stepping in on his client, but she still pitches the idea to Mathieu. He pretends to love the flashy final product, though he's probably more excited about using the suitcase for his upcoming trip to Saint-Tropez with Emily. After losing her nannying job, Mindy moves into Emily's small apartment, so her housing is sorted for now. However, her new job at a cabaret isn't exactly what she imagined. Because of some visa issues, she's stuck working as a bathroom attendant. Luckily, she gets her chance to shine on stage for one performance, and it's a hit. The Paris crowd loves drag, BTS, and Mindy's amazing singing. On the train to Saint-Tropez, Emily calls Gabriel, who's been butting heads with Antoine over the direction of their restaurant. She tells Gabriel that their night together was a mistake, but Gabriel doesn't seem to agree. Whether it was a mistake or not, it's definitely causing problems for Emily. Mathieu overhears the conversation and, upset, leaves her right there on the train. Now, it looks like Emily will have the entire hotel room in Saint-Tropez to herself. Emily's solo trip to Saint-Tropez didn't stay solo for long. Camille decided to join her, thrilled about a girls' trip. But Emily was panicking. How could she be around Camille without confessing that she'd slept with Gabriel? In a desperate move, Emily called Mindy for help. Mindy, doubtful of Emily's plan to reunite Camille and Gabriel, agreed to come anyway. Things got worse when an influencer named Grégory Dupré spotted Emily's Rimowa X Cadeau suitcase and started an impromptu photo shoot. What Emily thought was free publicity quickly turned into a disaster. Mathieu and Julien demanded the photos be taken down, but Grégory refused, and Emily was left stuck in a whirlwind of chaos. Even though it's illegal in France to work on weekends, Emily checks in at Laurent G, a local beach club meant to promote Champer. When she finds no promotion happening, she insists on speaking to Laurent G himself, demonstrating the correct way to spray champagne. As she leaves, she spots a black and white photo of a stunning young woman. Wait, it's Sylvie. Why is there a picture of her in Saint-Tropez? Later, at the hotel, the concierge informs Mindy that her billionaire dad had just been there. Mindy acts nonchalant but is clearly hurt he didn't tell her he was in France. The girls drown their sorrows at a lavish art party where a guy in a jetpack flies over the pool. A tipsy Camille flirts with a Milanese model while Emily, never truly off the clock, decides to return to Laurent G to check on the promotion. Once there, she finds Laurent in the middle of a makeout session, only to realize, wait, it's Sylvie. And Laurent G is her husband? In the aftermath of the wild revelation about Sylvie, the drama escalates. It turns out that Gregory is not just an influencer but a rival designer. Pierre is furious over Gregory's post and considers canceling the Rameau partnership. Julien, seeing an opportunity, takes the Cadeau account away from Emily as payback for her snagging Rameau. The morning after the party, Camille is a mess. At a picturesque chapel where she and Gabriel once shared a special moment, she confides in Emily that she went home with the model but couldn't go through with it. She's still in love with Gabriel. Emily reassures her that there's still hope for them. Emily's birthday is approaching, and Mindy wants to throw her a dinner party, despite their lack of cooking skills and the cramped size of their apartment. Their determination is admirable. After an unexpected encounter with Gabriel, Emily impulsively invites him, convincing herself it's to help him reconnect with Camille. As a birthday surprise, Camille treats Emily to a day at a hammam spa with her friends. The atmosphere is relaxed, and the conversation turns intimate. Camille shares some of Gabriel's endearing quirks, like how he has his initials on his favorite omelette pan. Emily feels a pang of guilt. Gabriel's treasured pan is sitting on her stove at home. In a moment of honesty, she blurts out to Camille that Gabriel will be at the dinner party, promising there won't be any drama. Right. Camille unexpectedly spots Matthew at a cafe and, believing Emily's cover story, confronts him about standing Emily up in Saint-Tropez and getting her removed from Pierre's account. Matthew counters that she's mistaken and claims Emily is having an affair, but Camille refuses to believe him. Tension mounts as misunderstandings pile up. Meanwhile, Gabriel disapproves of Emily's choice of prepackaged food for the dinner party. He takes her to a farmer's market, determined to find something better. Just as they begin to shop, the skies open up, forcing them to duck into an entryway to avoid the rain. In that moment, Gabriel leans in and shares that in French, the words for lightning clap also mean love at first sight. Emily feels the weight of his words, her heart racing as she realizes he's making things très difficile for her, caught between her feelings for him and her loyalty to Camille. As Mindy and Emily set up for dinner in a charming courtyard they discovered, Camille innocently asks about the mystery man in Emily's life, oblivious to the impending drama. The party begins on a high note, with Camille and Gabriel showing signs of rekindled affection. Sylvie arrives too, gifting non-smoker Emily a cigarette case, classic Sylvie. But the evening takes a turn when Camille heads up to Emily's apartment for more champagne and spots the omelette pan with Gabriel's initials. The tension boils over as she returns to the courtyard and raises her glass for a toast. To my boyfriend, who fucked my fake friend. Mon Dieu, she shatters her glass and storms off. Emily races after Camille, desperate to explain. Did you sleep with Gabriel? Camille demands. Faced with the devastation in Camille's eyes, Emily can no longer lie. Despite the fallout from the dinner party, Camille is determined to keep her personal life separate from her work. She demands that all meetings with Savoir be conducted in French, knowing Emily's still struggling with the language. Sylvie eagerly agrees, relishing the chance to put Emily on the spot. After one meeting, Emily attempts to talk to Camille, but Camille cuts her off. It doesn't matter which language we're speaking, I don't believe a word coming out of your mouth. Ouch. Meanwhile, at Mindy's gig as a singing bathroom attendant at a drag bar, she catches the attention of fans Etienne and Benoit. They offer her a spot in their band, which turns out to be busking at popular tourist spots. A gig is a gig, Mindy reasons. When she performs, all by myself, she blows away the competition, including mimes and contortionists. Her powerful voice captivates the crowd, showcasing her talent. Things continue to spiral for Emily when she's held back in French class. While her former classmates advance to level 2, she finds herself repeating level 1 with a new group of students. On her first day, she pairs up with Petra, whose questionable taste in fashion and writing utensils raises eyebrows. Their coffee and language date quickly turns into a shopping trip, though for Petra, it means shoplifting. Emily realizes she'll need a new language partner if she wants to steer clear of the gendarmerie. On top of that, Emily is removed from the Pierre Cadeau account and assigned to a far less glamorous client, Leeks. The marketers aim to make Leeks the next Brussels sprouts. Seeking inspiration, Emily heads to the farmer's market, where she unexpectedly runs into Gabriel. He offers to help her discover how to showcase the true essence of the humble Leek, reigniting both her creativity and their connection. Cue the sexiest leak montage ever, as Emily and Gabriel exchange longing glances while they sniff, puree, and garnish leeks. The chemistry is undeniable, but once the thrill wears off, Emily insists that Gabriel must tell Camille that their moment together meant nothing. Even if he doesn't believe it, he needs to say it. Later, when Gabriel confesses to Camille that he still loves her, it's unclear if he truly means it or if he's just saying what Emily urged him to. Camille remains skeptical. After a night at the cinema with Luke, watching Jules and Jim, a tragic tale of a ménage à trois, Emily gets inspired to reach out to Camille through a heartfelt letter written in French. Unfortunately, Mindy can't proofread it because she's busy with her new band, leaving Emily's letter filled with clumsy level 1 phrases like, "I am sad that I am naughty." While Emily finds it adorably naive, Camille does not share the sentiment. Her response is harsh. "Leave me alone, you illiterate sociopath." Sylvie has to step in to translate the rejection for Emily. With Emily's affair with Gabriel now public knowledge, her life becomes increasingly complicated. When Camille brings her parents, Louise and Gérard, to the Savoir office, they learn about Gabriel's stay in Paris and Emily's betrayal for the first time. Louise's anger is palpable. Emily better watch out. In the meantime, Emily tries to distract herself in French class with her new partner, Alfie, an English banker. Unlike her, Alfie is a cynic about Paris, dismissing the city of love as a mere fantasy concocted by an American marketing executive. When Emily reveals that she is indeed an American marketing executive, Alfie assumes she fits the stereotype of a typical Ringard tourist. However, he still invites himself to Emily's upcoming party for Chopard's Happy Hearts bracelets. As Emily juggles organizing the Chopard soirée and the Chez Lavo launch, she needs promotional photos of Gabriel in the kitchen. In an attempt to create an intimate atmosphere during the shoot, she gets swept up in the moment and kisses him, despite her earlier resolve to move on. Sylvie notices the lingering feelings in the photos and gives Emily some good advice: embrace a disastrous love affair. Emily, you've got the rest of your life to be as dull as you wish. However, being reckless isn't easy for Emily. When Camille invites her to lunch, she nervously reveals that she's decided to forgive Emily. After reflecting, Camille accepts that Emily thought they had broken up when she slept with Gabriel. The catch: Camille proposes a pact. Neither of them will ever be with Gabriel again. In the heat of the moment, Emily agrees, despite her recent kiss with him. At the glamorous Chopard event on the Bateau Mouche, Emily and Mindy conspire to set Julien up with Benoit, assuming he's gay. To their surprise, Benoit finds Mindy totally hot, leaving them both amused. Alfie makes an unexpected appearance, revealing that he's determined not to fall in love with Paris since he's only there temporarily, no reason to commit. Alfie's cynicism begins to influence Emily. After the party, she once again tries to shut down her complicated feelings for Gabriel, dismissing their connection as nothing more than a Paris fantasy that could end up hurting them both. Gabriel, visibly affected, responds with tears in his eyes, "If you say so." Feeling the weight of her decision, Emily walks home alone, grappling with the emotional turmoil of her choices. While scrolling through photos from the Chopard soirée, Emily notices Sylvie appearing in many shots. It's clear that the young Dutch event photographer, Eric, has a crush on her. Though Sylvie initially brushes it off, claiming young people annoy her, she surprises everyone by calling Eric after Emily leaves the office. He's thrilled to hear from her and asks her out for a drink, which Sylvie agrees to, under the guise of discussing client feedback on the photos. Sure, Sylvie. Meanwhile, Savoir lands a new big-budget client, Vespa, promoting a limited edition scooter designed by Dior. Julien seizes the opportunity to get superstar photographer Ellen von Unwert playing herself for the campaign. With a bit of charm, Julien manages to seal the deal through Ellen's eager assistant. He assumes that no one at Savoir will object to having a celebrity photographer on the project, setting the stage for potential chaos ahead. On her date with Eric, Sylvie learns he's a fan of vintage photography and older women. The next morning, she arrives at the office in an unusually good mood, tossing a bag of pastries at Luke and Emily. Apparently, the "no food in the office" rule doesn't apply if you've just had a night of passion. Sylvie skips the Chez Lavo opening, citing plans, and those plans are clearly more than just work-related. Meanwhile, the opening becomes a chaotic scene, as Antoine overrules Gabriel's request for a 50-guest maximum, inviting a crowd of influencers, including the all-important food critic from Le Figaro. Under pressure, Gabriel begins to crack, frustrated as the atmosphere shifts from intimate to raucous. When he confronts Antoine about turning the restaurant into a nightclub, it looks like he might quit. However, Camille and Emily spring into action. Camille calms Gabriel down like a chef whisperer, while Emily negotiates with Antoine to hold off on cranking the music until 11 p.m. As they work together, Emily, Gabriel, and Camille form a strong team, almost like a functional ménage à trois, if only it were that simple. Sylvie faces a conflict of interest when she impulsively offers Eric the Vespa job just as they're about to get intimate. It's a risky blend of foreplay and questionable business ethics. Meanwhile, Julien has already created excitement around the idea of using Ellen von Unwert for the campaign, dampening Sylvie's good mood and her newfound breakfast pastry ritual. When Sylvie reluctantly breaks the news to Eric, she braces for disappointment, expecting him to end things. To her surprise, Eric is genuinely smitten with her, job or no job, which leaves Sylvie wondering if it's better to be loved than feared. In a bid to move on from Gabriel, Emily seizes the moment and hijacks Savoir's prototype Vespa, zipping off to pick up Alfie from class. This spontaneous act showcases her playful side, and when she sees him looking effortlessly stylish on the back of the scooter, like a male Audrey Hepburn, she feels a spark of joy that signals a new chapter. Emily discovers one of Paris's least charming aspects, the lack of air conditioning. To escape the heat, she and Alfie decide to get drunk before French class, but their poor grades are a downer. During class, the teacher humiliates Alfie for not knowing much, but Emily steps in to help him out with her best French yet, thank you, beer. After class, they head to Alfie's air-conditioned apartment, just to cool down, but things quickly heat up. Alfie opens up about why he hasn't fallen in love with Paris. He lives in a dull corporate apartment in a boring area and has a tedious banking job. Despite this, he admits that he takes serious interest in things he likes, and one of those things is Emily. As their chemistry intensifies, Alfie struggles to unbutton Emily's blouse. She playfully encourages him, shouting, "Just rip it." The tension between them is undeniable, showing a thrilling contrast to her past with Gabriel. The morning after, Emily sneaks out wearing Alfie's suit jacket, as her top is ruined. Sporting a classic walk of shame look, she unexpectedly runs into Gabriel and tries to play it cool, but he knows what's really going on. Meanwhile, from Chicago, Madeleine is getting more involved in Savoir, much to Sylvie's displeasure. They're launching Pelotec, an at-home exercise bike brand, internationally, a very un-French way to stay fit. However, Emily struggles to focus on the Pelotec pitch because she's worried that Alfie isn't responding to her texts. She hopes he's not ghosting her. Madeleine and Sylvie have very different styles of leadership. Madeleine wants to set up a weekly progress call, but Sylvie is reluctant to take on the Pelotec business since it doesn't align with Savoir's brand. Madeleine isn't pleased. Meanwhile, Mindy and Benoit are getting serious after their recent duet of Falling Slowly, which sparked major chemistry between them. Despite his fear of writing songs since leaving music school, Benoit is inspired to create an original song for Mindy. They ignore each other's falafel breath as they share a passionate kiss, marking a deeper level of intimacy. Emily's situation with Alfie is becoming less romantic. After texting him way too many times without a reply, she fears he's ghosting her. However, Gabriel texts her, saying a British guy is looking for her at his restaurant. When Emily arrives, she finds Gabriel and Alfie watching soccer together like old friends. It turns out Alfie lost his phone, hidden in the pocket of the suit jacket Emily borrowed. Fortunately, he remembered that Emily lived near Chez Lavo. While everything seems fine, Gabriel now knows Emily lied about the jacket. Gabriel assumes Alfie is the reason Emily ended things with him. Emily pretends he's right, only half-truthfully. At Savoir, Emily unveils her latest viral marketing idea: how do you pop your top? It's a challenge for followers to share creative ways to open a bottle of champagne, featuring Camille's father, Gérard. Camille invites Emily to the family chateau to film the content. While Emily knows things usually go wrong at the chateau, Mindy encourages her to go, partly because she wants the apartment to herself for some alone time with Benoit. Paris feels like a small town, so it's no surprise that Emily's two love interests are becoming friends. Alfie is a big fan of Gabriel's restaurant and even takes Emily there for their first romantic date. Gabriel serves them an impressive amount of food, but Emily knows it's not out of kindness. By the end of the date, Alfie is so stuffed that he burps right in Emily's face, leaving him too full for romance. Emily's weekend at the chateau starts in chaos. During a filming session, Gerard demonstrates his favorite way to pop a champagne cork with a sword. After several takes, he accidentally slices off his finger. Blood splatters on Emily. Camille faints, and Timothée, Emily's most embarrassing hookup, has to rip off his shirt to stop the bleeding. Gerard has his finger sewn back on and recovers well, but Louise insists that Gabriel come to the chateau to express his sympathy. It seems she has a hidden agenda, reuniting Camille and Gabriel. Being back at the chateau reminds Gabriel of his feelings for Camille, which should make Emily happy since she wants them to get back together. Instead, she feels conflicted and decides to leave early. As she's getting into a taxi, Timothée runs after her to say they should move on from their past. How charming. Back in Paris, Sylvie and Eric enjoy a romantic gelato date and plan a sexy trip to Rome. However, when Eric invites her to a friend's engagement party, Sylvie hesitates. She worries about what her friends will think of her dating someone younger. After a conversation with Antoine's wife, Catherine, Sylvie realizes she doesn't need to prove anything. At the engagement party, Sylvie stuns everyone with her beauty. When a waitress mistakenly asks what she and her son will have for lunch, Sylvie confidently replies, "My son will be having me," and kisses Eric passionately. She embraces her role with pride. Madeleine arrives at Savoir, dressed in leopard print and sipping her Starbucks, instantly clashing with Sylvie. She questions why Maison Laveau hasn't raised its fees despite their growing business, unaware of Sylvie's complicated history with Antoine. At Lavau's scent sampling party, Antoine's wife, Catherine, reveals all the details to Madeleine, perhaps as a form of revenge for past grievances. Meanwhile, another shock occurs when Luc accidentally tells Alfie about Emily's past with Gabriel. Confronting Emily, Alfie expresses his desire for their relationship to be genuine, not just a fleeting romance. Emily kisses him, trying to reassure him, but it remains uncertain if she's being completely honest. Madeleine is shaken by the revelations about Sylvie and questions whether she should still be part of the firm. Believing Emily is loyal to her, Madeleine asks Emily to retrieve Savoir's account billing information. Emily faces a dilemma. Will she side with her American mentor or embrace her Parisian loyalties? Meanwhile, Mindy's past as a billionaire's daughter is revealed when Etienne leaks the story to a journalist. Tabloids start flooding the internet, and Benoit feels betrayed that she hid this from him, making their penniless street musicians' facade a lie. Hurt, he storms off, breaking up the band and leaving several cliffhangers as the season 2 finale approaches. Madeleine's American takeover of Savoir continues, with Emily reluctantly assisting her. The financial reports Emily gathered are chaotic, leading Madeleine to suggest personnel changes. Even the biggest Sylvie fans can't ignore her questionable decisions. Tensions rise when Pierre's rival, Gregory, is dropped by his marketing firm after a public meltdown about his shapewear launch. Madeleine sees this as a chance to win Gregory's business, while Sylvie insists on loyalty to Pierre. Eventually, Sylvie concedes with a reluctant, "I stand corrected," but it's clear she has a plan brewing. Emily and Julien track down Gregory at a gay club. Emily convinces him that Savoir can help improve his image for the Versailles show, inspired by a stripper's butt in her face, leading her to the theme, "Let them eat cake." To pull it off, Emily needs 80 custom cakes in one night, so she turns to Gabriel for help, and he agrees. Meanwhile, Alfie confronts Gabriel, asking if there's anything between him and Emily. Gabriel honestly responds that their relationship is over, and they're just friends now, sort of. Before their band's big debut at a Chinese supper club, Mindy tries to reconcile with Benoit, but he remains distant. When they take the stage, performing in front of the supper club owner's daughter, who knows about Mindy's past, Benoit begins playing the original song he wrote for her, Mon Soleil, which is a catchy hit. Meanwhile, at Sylvie's beautiful apartment, Laurent confronts Eric. Sylvie decides to give up her ownership stake in Laurent G, and Laurent agrees. He wants to stay in Paris for some fun, but Sylvie, having learned from her affair with Antoine, stays loyal to Eric and turns him down. The Let Them Eat Cake show in Versailles reaches its peak with Gregory performing in extravagant Marie Antoinette drag, honoring Pierre Cadeau, who joins him in a flashy Sun King wig. However, the celebration takes a turn when Pierre fires Savoir, claiming the show is far more impressive than anything they've done for him. Madeleine attempts to mend the situation, but Pierre dismisses her, saying, "I will never understand you, and you will never understand me." Frustrated, Madeleine blames Sylvie and schedules a 360 review. But Sylvie, uninterested in corporate jargon, decides to quit, taking the entire team with her. Emily is left shocked and unsure of what to do next. And there's more news. Alfie's project in Paris is over, and he was supposed to go back to London a week ago. He only stayed for Emily. Now, they'll have to do long distance, but since Emily is good with logistics, it shouldn't be a big deal. Madeleine tells her she's looking for a new staff in Paris, hinting that Emily could soon be back in Chicago. However, Emily has an invitation from the old Savoir team to join their new firm. Sylvie even praises her, saying Emily is very, very good at her job, something Emily has been waiting to hear for 2 seasons. All the Savoir clients are coming with Sylvie, who plans to use the money from the Laurent G buyout to start a new agency. Now, Emily has a chance to stay in Paris longer than she expected. It's not what she planned, but it feels right. Despite everything she's convinced herself of, Emily realizes she's still in love with Gabriel. She goes to his door, ready to share her feelings and tell him she's staying in Paris, maybe forever. But then she hears Camille in the next room. Camille has her headphones on, so she didn't hear Emily's big moment, but she has moved in with Gabriel, largely thanks to Emily's efforts to reunite them. Heartbroken, Emily leaves alone, her career uncertain. For someone who loves to plan everything, her future is now completely up in the air. Thank you so much for this video. Comment part 2 in the comment section for the remaining seasons. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.